Would you please welcome the greatest coach in Michigan and Hall of Fame coach, Lloyd Carr.
Thank you very much. It is a delightful opportunity for me to be here. It is my first foray into the political arena, and Bo used to accuse me of being a liberal, and of course on that staff you could be liberal and still be a conservative. But you know, when Jay asked me to come up, the one thing I never hesitated for this reason. When I personally go in that voting booth, what I've always tried to do before I get there is find out what kind of person I'm going to consider voting for. And because to me that trumps all the politics. If you don't have those qualities and of integrity and trustworthiness and character, then you're not going to measure up in the long run. And as a football coach, I was there with Jay for all 5 of his years at Michigan. He came in there as a boy. He was a big boy. That's I met he and his family in 1989. That's 20 years ago. And so I think I know him. And in those 5 years on the football field, you get an opportunity to really know what a guy's all about. Because in the fire of competition, you find out how hard a guy wants to work. You find out what his enthusiasm and his passion and his attitude and all those things are. And Jay measured up. He was as well respected as any player on any team I've had, because his teammates knew that when it all came down to it, he was going to do anything he could to help his team win. And to me, that's that type of selflessness. He came in as a quarterback, and at some point in his career, he moved to tight end. And you know, there's a learning adjustment there. There's a transition, and it's not easy because you know, he came there with a dream of being a quarterback, and yet because of his perseverance and the way he approached that transition, look what happened. I mean, he developed into an outstanding tight end and had a great career in the NFL because inside of him, he wasn't going to give up. When I became the head coach of Michigan in 1995, I think most people who follow Michigan football, and particularly the players on that team, know it was one of the great challenges that program has had. And well, I gathered all of our seniors together, and I asked them to be great leaders, to just focus on being the best team and the best group of individuals they could be. And a guy that stood tall at that time was Jay Riemersma. At one of the toughest times, he stood the tallest. And so what I can tell you about him is this. What toughness he possesses. And you may say, well, what does toughness have to do with a congressman? Hey, I promise you, I want toughness in a congressman, because I want a man or a woman who, when the going gets tough and the pressure is at its best, is going to stand tall and do the right thing, who can withstand all of the pressure of that position. And as you know, I know in my lifetime, which is a lot longer than most of yours, it's never been tougher to be a leader. It's never been tougher, certainly, to serve in the United States Congress. And we have never needed people of character at any time in our history, at least in terms of my lifetime. So the one thing, you'll remember a guy named Gerald Ford, former Michigan football player, who became the president, who served this part of our state for so long. And you know, I had an opportunity to spend every time President Ford visited the University of Michigan in those years before he passed away, and I was the head coach, and before that, when Gary Moeller and Bo Schimbeck were the head coach, President Ford came down to the Michigan football offices. He almost always addressed the team because you know, he loved that place so much. But over that period of time, I can remember asking him one question, because I was a college freshman in 1963, November 22nd, when President Kennedy was assassinated. And Gerald Ford was on the Warren Commission, who studied the assassination and signed the report on the assassination. And you know, I probably shouldn't have asked him this because he'd already answered in the report, but one of the visits down there, I asked him, I said, Mr. President, I said, is the Warren Commission accurate? Now, that's a pretty dumb question. But later, there's a guy named David Gergen. You see him on TV all the time. And he wrote a book on presidential leadership. And going back, I think he started back with President Reagan, going through the most recent Clinton. And David Gergen says, Gerald Ford, of all the presidents that he was talking about, had the greatest character. He was a man for that time who served his country, who made some extremely difficult decisions, maybe one of which cost him the election, but he did the right thing. And so, I'm not making him the president yet, but I can tell you this. This guy has the same kind of character and the same kind of integrity that President Ford had. So I'm delighted to be here and to meet some of you that I haven't had a chance to meet, and say hello to some of those people that I've met down through the years. So thanks so much. Thanks for being here, and good luck to all of you. Thank you.